The UW Board of Regents is reconsidering its hiring policies and how schools share information about sexual harassment claims against its staff.
It could soon be easier for out-of-state educators to get their teaching licenses here in Wisconsin. That's what state leaders will be talking about today.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. 6 o'clock now on this Thursday, June 7th.
I think what we'll be talking about today is it's a little muggier out.
You need the hairspray?
It's a struggle. Struggle's real, kiddo.
Just put a hat on today. It'll be fine.
I might just have to wear the baseball hat.
There you go.
It'll be fine.
Right,
you want the baseball hat to protect from the sun anyway. Because we do have sun in our forecast. A little bit of high-level cloudiness streaming into the area from the west this morning. You can see that pretty clearly on our WISC-TV sky cam. We're looking to the east. Sun is up. The sun is rising just before 5:20, about as early as it gets in the year for us.
Nice.
Our temperatures early today, 58. We're back up to up 1 degree here in Madison to 58, 61 in Janesville, 63 in Mineral Point. Prairie du Chien, that's 62. Our forecast today has temperatures that'll be a little bit warmer than yesterday. Dew points are a little bit higher as well, so you may notice a bit of humidity. 79 is our high this afternoon. Our first alert traffic update shows you what's happening on the roads, and still looking pretty quiet around there. A few brake lights showing up on the Beltline at Stoughton Road. Stoughton Road as well towards East Wash, showing a little bit of a slowdown there, but nothing major just yet. No accidents to report. So you're still going a bit above posted speeds on the interstate heading into Madison.
It's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit there, folks. We're going to have a story coming up. You'll get ticketed.
Yeah, be careful. No speeding.
Just warning you. All right, thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
So topping the news, we are following a developing situation out of Houston's Hobby Airport this morning, where hundreds of people have been evacuated this morning. According to an Associated Press journalist that was actually going through the security checkpoint there, a TSA worker shouted, "Shut it down, everyone leave," right around 4:35 this morning. It is unclear what the safety threat might be. This comes, though, just a day after a situation at Houston's other major airport, Bush Intercontinental. Police detained a passenger there who made comments about explosives in a bag. A bomb squad was called in to investigate, but the international terminal was also shut down for almost an hour yesterday at Bush. We'll be sure to update you on the situation at Hobby Airport later on in the show as we learn more.
2 minutes after 6 right now. The first direct flight from Madison to San Francisco is wheels up, 3:30 this afternoon. The business community has been working to get this flight going for more than a decade now. As the flight starts, Dane County's Board of Supervisors is set to approve spending $100,000 to market it to the Dane County area for that nonstop service. The airport estimates this flight will bring $622,000 in new revenue each year. Today at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, the UW Board of Regents starts its 2-day monthly meeting by dealing with 2 major issues.
First, they're going to discuss the merger between the UW system's 2- and 4-year schools. That's expected to take until the end of 2019 to complete. That merger is meant to help with declining enrollment at 2-year universities, ideally making associate's degrees more attractive coming from a 4-year school. UW System President Ray Cross will update board members about the timeline for that change.
So the second issue the regents are talking about concerns how UW schools track and share sexual harassment accusations that are made against faculty and staff.
Governor Scott Walker has asked the UW system to revamp the hiring process to make sure those allegations are communicated from school to school. Leah Linscheid joins us in the newsroom this morning with more on that. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning. The Board of Regents is considering these changes after a former UW Stevens Point assistant dean of students accused of sexual misconduct was hired for that same job at UW Eau Claire. Sean Wilson resigned in January of 2016. An investigator there said it was before UW Stevens Point could carry out its disciplinary process. That same month, he took a job as Associate Dean of Students at an Illinois college. And then in August of 2017, he was hired for that same position at UW Eau Claire. His time there was short-lived, though, after UW Stevens Point officials learned of his hiring. Now the regents are looking to prevent something like this from ever happening again. The idea is to require all allegations or investigations of sexual harassment to be documented in a personnel file. Then all system schools would be required to share those files for both current and former employees. Those requirements could also apply to employers outside the university system or the state. We'll have the latest details from that meeting coming up later on News 3 and channel3000.com.
Coming up tomorrow, the Board of Regents is going to be taking up increasing student fees as well. So we'll keep up to speed on everything that's going on at the Regents meeting.
On their plate.
Leah, thank you.
The Dane County Board of Supervisors will undergo mandatory sexual harassment training later today. The board passed a new rule earlier this year that requires all county employees and elected officials in the county to participate in that training. Previously, only full-time employees had to go through that training. Others could voluntarily do so, learning what constitutes sexual harassment and who to go with allegations. The decision to train everyone came after a number of high-profile harassment accusations against celebrities and politicians across the country. As the school year comes to an end this week for much of southern Wisconsin, state leaders are looking at ways to address the staffing shortages a lot of the schools face across Wisconsin. They're getting together later today to talk about an emergency change to the state's teacher licensing rules. The hope is to make it easier for people seeking a teaching license in Wisconsin to get one, especially if they're coming from out of state. The emergency rule change would also bring those licensing rules into compliance with the state budget that was passed last year.
So you just heard us allude to the fact when we were talking about the traffic report. State Patrol is going to continue to patrol that new speed limit on the interstate between Madison and Beloit. The DOT lowered the limit from 70 to 55 last Saturday after a series of chain reaction crashes inside that construction zone last week. Troopers have since ticketed 24 drivers, handed out almost 30 warnings so far. All of the accidents in the construction zone ended up shutting down that interstate for hours.
6:06 right now, and school is almost out for the summer for the thousands of students in the Madison Metropolitan School District.
During the school year, the REAP food group works with the Foundation for Madison's Public Schools to make sure students have enough food to eat so they can focus in the classroom. But during the summer, REAP's still working with the school district and the city on providing food to those who need it. Christina Laurie is live at Elver Park on Madison's west side this morning with the latest on the summer food program. Good morning.
Good morning, Adam and Danica. The REAP Food Group serves more than 25,000 students, providing them with free breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinners all school year long, and those efforts continue during the summer months as well. Those area schools, local hospitals, Madison parks, and community centers all service sites where families can take their kids for free meals. REAP provides the meals from June 18th through August 10th, Monday through Friday. Much of the food served is grown locally, helping out area farmers. The Madison Metropolitan School District's Farm to School project is a partnership between REAP and the school district to source food directly from local farms for school meals.
The fruits and vegetables that we bring into the meals are fresh, they're healthy, they are grown locally, so they're supporting our local farms and our local economy, and they're healthy for our students as well. The meals always have a nutritious balance. They always have a grain, protein, fruit, vegetable, and milk.
Oftentimes the meal is a sandwich with locally grown produce as a side. To find out which schools and parks are participating this summer, just visit mmsd.org/food, or you can text 877-877 text food to that number 877-877 to find out which site is closest to you. And I put links to all of that information on our website, channel3000.com, in case you can't remember it like I clearly could.
Well, it's certainly a lot to remember and a very important service to have out there for the kiddos this summer and the families. Christina Laurie reporting live from Elver Park. Thank you, Christina.
6:08 right now. There's a major new study out related to breast cancer patients and whether they need to get chemotherapy. It's the largest study ever done of breast cancer treatment. We'll speak with our medical expert, Dr. Mandira Mera, about it here in a couple of minutes.
Should be a pretty nice day today, a little warmer than yesterday, and you will feel it a bit when you go out this morning. As you can see, the bit of haze around the Capitol this morning. Hattie is also talking about the possibility of some rain heading into the weekend. That's next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O Patio on this Friday Eve. We have a pretty nice start to the day. It feels a little bit muggier outside as dew points climbed into the upper 50s and low 60s overnight. Let's take a look at high temperatures yesterday. Nice afternoon with most spots topping in the 70s. Now today, I think we are going to see some more 80s on the map. We'll be a little bit closer to 80 as well here in Madison. We did have some showers and thunderstorms move through late in the morning yesterday, adding up to about 1/4 inch of rain here in Madison. But there were a few spots with some higher rain totals, closer to 1 inch, not too far from Madison yesterday. You can see, though, that rain really just affecting south central Wisconsin. Southwestern Wisconsin not picking up much rain yesterday. Things are pretty quiet around here this morning. There are quite a few showers and thunderstorms rolling through the central plains. The movement on that activity is to the south and east, so it's likely to stay out of the area today. Can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm mainly west of Madison, but our best chances for rain will come overnight tonight. And the severe weather outlook indicates that really there's no risk for severe weather here across southern Wisconsin, which is great news. There are quite a few clouds, though, and you can see those high-level clouds streaming into the area from the west this morning. Already seeing a little bit of that here in Madison. In fact, the WISC-TV sky cam showing you filtered sunshine this morning. It is 58 here in Madison, 61 in Platteville, 62 in Prairie du Chien. I mentioned dew points have risen a little bit over the last 24 hours, and you can see that on the map. 57-degree dew point here in Madison, but right around 60 in southwestern Wisconsin. Dew point trend through the day is expected to hover right around 60 degrees, so maybe feeling just a little bit muggier. Future Track will show you what to expect today, and again, some high-level clouds in the area, but that's about it through the day. Temperatures back in the mid-70s by lunchtime, pretty close to 80 this afternoon. Now, there are slight chances for rain, mainly to the west today, but best chances overnight tonight. And Future Track really picking up on that moisture moving back into the area by Friday morning. It's going to be a wet commute tomorrow morning, and it does look like those showers and thunderstorms may linger through a good part of the day on Friday. Here's a look at the rain totals as far as what we are looking at over the next 24 hours or so. A wide range with the highest amounts of rain in the southeastern corner of the state. Our extended forecast has temperatures that should hover right around 80 degrees. A little bit cooler tomorrow with the clouds and rain, but otherwise we're looking at 80s for the weekend. And into next week, we hang pretty close to 80 degrees with many chances for rain, at least every other day. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, starting the morning drive off pretty quiet once again on the roadways. No real issues popping up on the Beltline yet in either direction. Checking out Dane County, there are some brake lights on Stoughton Road approaching the East Washington intersection, along with on the northbound side of Verona Road near the Beltline ramps. Downtown routes are moving well around the Capitol and on campus. Volume is not an issue quite yet. And other routes heading into the city are moving along at the usual speeds. No crashes or delays to worry about here in the Madison area. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. A new study finds that tens of thousands of women with early-stage breast cancer can actually skip chemotherapy without hurting their chances of beating the disease.
So this is the largest test ever done of breast cancer treatment and could impact 70,000 patients every year here in the U.S. from having to get chemo. Our medical expert, Dr. Mandira Mera from SSM Health, is here this morning to talk a little bit more about this. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So we hear about avoiding chemo without any negative impact. What's your takeaway from this huge, and it's a massive study?
Yeah, I think this is great news. It's so exciting. We always talk about having sort of buckets of treatment. You know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, we said, okay, you have prostate cancer, breast cancer, whatever type of cancer. Let's follow this formula. We have surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, and then variations of that model. Now, cancer treatment is becoming so personalized, Adam. We're able to take biopsies and do genetic testing and see what actually makes sense for your treatment. So it's not just sort of this very archaic formula of everybody gets surgery, everybody gets radiation and chemotherapy. We're able actually now to do a genetic test that looks at 21 different genes of that breast cancer and say, does it make sense to actually get the chemotherapy? Which, of course, as you know, comes with things like nausea, vomiting, hair loss, lots of other side effects in itself.
So we're talking about in lieu of chemotherapy, not
Not in lieu of treatment, exactly.
Correct.
So we shouldn't misinterpret this headline at all. It's not that people with this type of breast cancer will skip treatment. What we're saying is people with a very specific type of breast cancer, so early stage, no lymph node spread, HER2 negative, but still estrogen positive, so this is a very specific type of breast cancer, but very common. these women may be able to skip chemotherapy altogether. Still will probably receive some kind of hormone therapy, some sort of radiation therapy, maybe even surgery. You're not skipping therapy, but you are skipping chemotherapy, which is still very exciting in the field.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. We wanted to take an opportunity too. There was a huge story with Kate Spade dying of suicide earlier this week, and it gained a lot of attention and brought a lot of attention to the issue of suicide. Wanted to give you an opportunity too to, talk about the importance of talking about this.
Exactly, and Danica, we always talk about how we have to change the conversation here. The stigma around suicide, around mental health, really about how important this is. And unfortunately, in Kate Spade's loss, this is really hitting home for so many people, especially young women that can really think back and say, I remember getting my first Kate Spade, either as a young professional, as a gift. The whole fashion industry, as well as celebrities, are reacting. And this goes to show that it's not just fame, fortune, that stops people from, unfortunately, committing suicide, having depression. It affects everybody, and it can look very different in people. So of course we want to raise awareness and say there's so many things we can do, including calling the suicide prevention line. There's 5 tips I like to give people, and these are really practical for me, for you. If you're out there and you're even thinking about harming yourself or committing suicide, first of all, be realistic. Ask yourself or ask a friend, family member, say, are you having these thoughts? If you are having these thoughts, then there's steps we can take. You can text the hotline, you can call the hotline. Number 2 is connecting with that person, saying you're not alone. There's help out there. There's hotlines, there's therapists. Number 3 is following up. Really say a day later, 2 days later, are you okay? Let's meet for a cup of coffee. Number 4 is really telling that person they're not alone. So of course, like we always talk about, there's physicians, there's non-physicians, there's therapists, there's so many different things we can do. And finally, getting out there, changing that conversation. For every person that does actually commit suicide, there's 200 to 300 people that have thought about it. So imagine if we change that stigma, that paradigm, and talk about those 200 to 300 cases of people that survive. People that actually don't end up doing that. That would actually change the whole stigma in itself. So there's so much that really can be done to change the conversation.
And if you want to start that conversation, need some help, we have the Time to Talk page over on channel3000.com. So always important.
Very important topic.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Time right now is 6:19, and within the last few minutes, we have learned that a toy grenade in a passenger's bag has caused that shutdown of Houston's Hobby Airport this morning. Hundreds of people are evacuated this morning. We'll have an update in the morning sprint.
And we are looking ahead to an anniversary here in Madison of when bell-bottoms were all the rage. Speaking of rage, it was political rage 50 years ago on Bascom Hill that Mark Kane's remembering tonight on News 3 at 10. We'll share a preview when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean with your first alert weather forecast today. We start with a view from the Henry Vilas Zoo. It is field trip time for many kids, and if you're going to the zoo today, should be a pretty nice forecast. This is the North American prairie. Earlier, we were able to see the bison, but not in the shot this morning, at this hour at least. 58 here in Madison, 62 in Platteville, 63 in Prairie du Chien. The Dells this morning, 59 degrees. Our forecast today is a little bit warmer than yesterday. Yesterday, we had a high of 76. Today, we'll top in the upper 70s. As you head home from school, it'll be 77 degrees with partly sunny skies. Rain chances will return to the area overnight tonight, and if tomorrow's your last day of school, it could be kind of a rainy one with showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Hattie. So next week, Madison is going to look back. It's called the Madison Reunion, and organizers of the event are inviting everyone to join in on the 50th anniversary of cultural Woodstock.
Madison in 1968 was a very different place than it is today. A lot smaller, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of what shaped the city today took place back then on Bascom Hill on the UW campus. That's where Mark Kane caught up with Madison's unofficial historian, Stu Levitan, whose new book, Madison in the 60s, is coming out this fall. Now, Levitan says the political protests, the anti-war protests may have started on campus, but they ended up spreading and affecting the entire city. Coming up tonight on News 3 at 10, Mark's going to look back at the events that took place on campus and how they shaped Madison's future.
Really cool pictures.
Yeah, interesting. 6:24 right now. Coming up, we're going to share the day's top stories, including the number of pills Columbia County prosecutors say a truck driver may have taken in the days before crashing into a school bus with a group of middle schoolers.
And we'll share the new allegations of problems at one of Madison's biggest hospitals. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning. A young teenager is found dead in Iowa County, and detectives say it could be a while before we know how she died.
In Madison area, kids will soon be on summer vacation, but a federally funded school lunch program isn't going on break. How you can make sure your kids are eating and eating well all summer long.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome back to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning, 6:28 on this Thursday, June 7th.
We're saying it's a little stickier out this morning than
yeah.
it's been the last couple of days. Let's go live outside to the patio this morning with our partner, meteorologist Hattie McLean. Good morning, kiddo.
Good morning. Yeah, not a bad start today. It's a little muggy outside right now, but not terrible. Temperatures will be just a little bit warmer today than they were yesterday. Let's start with a live look from our Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville. Definitely some clouds in the area this morning in and around Platteville, so we're not seeing a whole lot of sunshine there. Temperatures, though, are at least a little bit warmer than they were this time yesterday, about 5 to 10 degrees above what they were at this hour. 58 here in Madison, 62 though in Platteville, 59 in the Dells, and 61 in Janesville. Now our forecast today has temperatures climbing through the 70s back to around 80 degrees. 79 in fact the high here in Madison. Not much of a breeze, which would really help with the gnat situation here on the patio, but things staying pretty quiet today. Best chances for rain will arrive later on today and especially overnight tonight. Now let's take a look at your first alert traffic update this morning. Things are pretty quiet still on the Beltline. We are seeing some brake lights on Verona Road as you approach the Beltline. Otherwise, no accidents to report. Again, it is a little slower on Verona Road. You're adding about a minute to your drive time right now. Those times might slow down as traffic volume increases. And that's your first alert traffic.
Topping the news this half hour, Iowa County investigators say it could be a, quote, considerable amount of time before they figure out why a 13-year-old was found dead last week. The sheriff's office says they're looking into that girl's death as suspicious. Deputies found her body inside a home just outside the town of Mineral Point last Wednesday. That house on Miller Road is currently listed as a pending sale. The current homeowners turned down an interview with us. It's unclear if they're related to the girl or connected in any way to her death. Detectives do not believe this is related to any human trafficking case at this time and say that there is no threat to the public. We will continue to follow this story and post any updates over on channel3000.com.
A judge will decide today if there's enough evidence to send a suspected intoxicated driver to trial for hitting a school bus and hurting at least 20 people. This is in Columbia County, where prosecutors say Wayne Murphy was under the influence of prescription medication when he hit the bus going to the Dells to celebrate a group of Milwaukee middle schoolers' upcoming graduation. Murphy reportedly told investigators he hadn't been drinking, but admitted to taking anti-anxiety medication. Detectives told prosecutors he seemed generally unconcerned after the crash happened. Murphy's now facing 10 charges, including 5 counts of intoxicated use of a vehicle, 5 counts of second-degree reckless injury. Investigators reportedly found bottles of Xanax on the floor of his truck. They told prosecutors one bottle that was filled, the prescription was filled on May 14th, only had 51 of the 120 pills left, meaning Murphy allegedly took about 69 pills in 8 days.
A federal agency says a Madison hospital was putting patients on life support at risk. Unity Point Health Meritor faces additional violations this morning after that investigation found the hospital did not install battery-powered lights in a procedure room and failed to have a remote stop for a generator. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services says that could lead to individuals on life support being seriously hurt or dying. This is the agency's 3rd investigation into Meritor this year. The initial case was prompted by reports of infants in the neonatal intensive care unit having unexplained injuries, including one baby with a skull fracture. A Meritor spokesperson says all of the most recent violations have been resolved and are waiting on approval.
A suspected drunk driver is in the hospital with serious injuries this morning after running into a deer with his motorcycle in the town of Verona. Happened on County Highway PB near Sunset Drive overnight. The lieutenant running the night shift at the Dane County Sheriff's Office says 57-year-old Craig Kruger of Beloit was not wearing his helmet when he hit the deer. After he's released from the hospital, he's going to be taken to the Dane County Jail to face his 6th OWI offense. So it's a good time to remind you what the DOT has been telling us about. Drivers need to watch out for deer this month. June is when deer activity is higher due to breeding and they're traveling in groups. Statistically, it's also when Wisconsin drivers are most likely to get injured in a car-deer crash. Drivers are not advised to swerve out of the way of a deer because that could cause an even more serious crash. We have a whole list of safety tips over at our website, channel3000.com.
6:32 right now, and more than half of the 25,000 students in the Madison Metropolitan School District qualify for free or reduced lunch during the school year.
In the summer, though, only 4,000 use the district's free lunch program every day. Reap's Food Group summer program's launching its biggest program in a little more than a week right now. News 3's Christina Laurie joins us from Elver Park this morning with more. Good morning, Christina.
Adam and Danica, of the 13,000 Madison area students that qualify for free or reduced lunch during the summer months, only about 4,000 take advantage of it. So now the question is, where are the other 9,000 students eating during the summer, and what are they eating? Are they eating nutritiously? Those are some of the questions and concerns Reap Food Group has ahead of their annual free summer food program kickoff, which happens a week from Monday. Tomorrow is the last day of school for the 25,000 students in the Madison Metropolitan School District. During the school year, Reap's Farm to School snack program brings free locally grown fruits and vegetables to more than 300 classrooms. And during the summer months, that initiative continues. From June 18th through August 10th, Reap provides free meals and educational activities at local parks and schools to kids and their parents.
This program is vital because so many kids are reliant on school meals during the academic year, and that's where they receive a lot of their nutrition during the day. And so during summer, school isn't in session, and so this program is a way to bring nutrition to the kids that rely on school meals during the school year.
Most sites serve breakfast and lunch, while others serve snacks and dinner too. Here at Elver Park is one of the sites where both kids and their parents can eat for free. Leopold Park, Centro Hispano, and Southdale Park all also offer that food for both kids and their parents. To find out which locations offer which meals, you can just text 877-87, text food to 877-877, or visit mmsd.org/food to find out which sites are closest to you. I put links to all of that on our website, channel3000.com, in case you're having a tough time remembering it like I am this morning.
It's good advice. All right. Thank you so much, Christine. Appreciate it.
It's almost 6:35 on this Thursday morning, and we are getting a better idea this morning of when a state-of-the-art factory in Janesville will open. Its goal is to help people find out if they have cancer a lot sooner than normal.
And we now know the first tenant inside some of the old Oscar Mayer space on Madison's north side. The news back in the morning on News 3 this morning. 6:38 now. Welcome back to the program. Shine Medical Technologies is set to break ground on its new medical radioisotope factory in Janesville later this summer. Janesville Gazette reports that new location will be used to make a product called Molly 99 that's used to illuminate tissues in bone and heart imaging tests, meaning it can help detect cancer and heart disease. Right now, that product's mostly made overseas. Shine hopes that its factory will make Molly 99 more consistently available in the U.S. going forward. Shine officials estimate their facility will be operating by the middle of 2020.
A Madison-based company has moved into the former Oscar Mayer plant on the city's east side. Reich Brothers Holdings bought that property last year and is now leasing office space to TASC, which stands for Total Administrative Services Corporation. TASC's current headquarters is on International Lane in Madison, a little more than a mile from the Oscar Mayer building. All right, your time right now, 6:39. It's going to be a really nice day weather-wise today. Only a small chance for some rain, mostly south and west of Mustain County. That chance does grow over the next couple of days, though. Hattie's First Alert forecast is coming up next.
First, though, it's June 7th. We want to say happy birthday to these dudes, Nolan, Donald, all the other kids out there turning 3 today. Thanks so much for letting us celebrate with you right here on News 3 this morning. You are taking a live look this morning at the city of Phoenix. They are expecting high temperatures of 106 today, but it's a dry heat. So
I don't
folks
know, that
who
looks
live
sweaty.
there shouldn't be racing too fast to the air conditioning. Who are we kidding? It's going to be miserable. The entire Southwest is seeing scorching temperatures this week. The ring around that fire, all that hot weather, is leading to the chance for strong storms around the country.
Chris Reese joins us now to tell us a little bit more about the meteorological ring of fire. not the Johnny Cash song, just to clarify.
Yeah, but Johnny Cash had something right when he said, you know, you go down, 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 and the flames, they got higher. And that's exactly the case, because the farther south you go, the hotter it gets. You've also got some wildfires down there. The Ring of Fire essentially starts with a big dome of high pressure across the desert Southwest. Now, everything you learned in college or in school is wrong here. Essentially, typically you hear that cold air sinks, which is true. But in this case, the air that is sinking is warming, and that's where you get the warm, hot temperatures underneath this big dome. This is where you get the fire. The jet stream rides along that, and as that air sinks, the edges of that lead to rising air. That's where you have your regions of low pressure. As that cools, the common water cycle, you end up with showers and thunderstorms that develop around the fire. This is the ring, and that's the reason we're going to have several chances of some showers and thunderstorms in our forecast. Here's the travel forecast today. You see the heat near triple digits across Texas, triple digits as you get towards New Mexico and Arizona, storms across the northern plains. Hattie is in with the weather to talk about some of those storms. She's tracking them now, actually.
That's right, Chris. We already see some of that activity on the map this morning. You can see the movement of the clouds really around that hot air, and we already have some showers and thunderstorms breaking out across the central plains and tracking to the south and east. Now, most of this activity today is likely to stay west of Madison. We've also, though, with some of those clouds in the area, had some pretty nice sunrise shots this morning. This one, Kenton set in just a few minutes ago to the weather office, taken from the terrace looking out over Lake Mendota. It's hard to see it. At first, I thought the picture was upside down because the lake is so quiet. It's just a mirror image. Beautiful shot. Thanks, Kenton, for sharing that one. Donald Phelps also sent in a picture from southern Wisconsin of the sunrise. Another gorgeous shot this morning. So those clouds leading to very pretty colorful sunrises and sunsets. Now, our contrast, our Edgewater sky cam, not quite as colorful. Ew, really buggy this morning. The bugs are out this morning. There is not much of a breeze. I've dealt with that in the backyard weather patio, and it looks like down by the lake as well. 58 is our temperature here in Madison. It's 60 in the Dells, 63 in Mineral Point, and 61 in Monroe. Dew points are definitely a little higher. It feels a bit muggy outside this morning. 61 in Janesville is that dew point, 57 here in Madison. Dew points are pretty close to 60 in the southwestern corner of the state. Now today, dew points aren't going to get out of hand, but they will hover right around 60 degrees, so it'll feel just a bit humid. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. We have some high-level clouds in the area, but that just filters the sunshine this morning. By lunchtime, partly sunny with temperatures climbing already into the mid-70s. Today's highs will be a little bit closer to 80 in most spots. In fact, wouldn't be surprised to see some 80s along the Mississippi River Valley and then south of Madison. Janesville, maybe as mild as 83 degrees. 79 for the high here in Madison. Chances for rain really start to increase overnight tonight. Here's 3:30 in the morning. Some showers and thunderstorms moving into the area. Looks like it is going to be a wet commute tomorrow morning across the region. And those showers and some isolated thunderstorms look to continue through most of the day on Friday. Here's a look at our extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will hover right around 80 degrees as we head into the upcoming weekend. Just a chance for some rain Saturday afternoon. Most of the weekend, though, is actually going to be pretty nice with dry weather. Heading into next week, turning a bit more humid on a couple of those days, but high temperatures stay right around 80. And again, that ring of fire, keeping those chances for rain in the forecast on and off through the next 10 days. Here's Archie.
Oh, I needed that this morning. That is excellent. Golly.
I think Archie wants to play ball.
I think so too. Or not giving it up in any terms.
And he's got those big eyes.
Love it.
Watching you.
Oh, the life of a dog.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next on News 3 this morning.
It's 6:50, time now for the morning sprint. Hattie says we're in for a pretty nice day today with a small chance of rain coming tonight. And Leah's reporting on the possibility of hiring policy changes at UW schools.
Christina Laurie has the details on a program making sure Madison kids have healthy meals once schools let out for the summer. But we start in Houston this morning, where one of the city's major airports is back open this morning after a passenger tried bringing a toy grenade through a TSA checkpoint. Hobby Airport was evacuated for about an hour this morning while a bomb squad checked out the suspicious item and cleared the area. About a dozen flights are running on delay as a result this morning.
Iowa County investigators say it could take a long time to figure out why a 13-year-old was found dead last week inside a home near the town of Mineral Point. Detectives tell News 3 they don't believe this is related to any human trafficking and do not believe there is any existing threat to the public. The sheriff, though, describes the death as suspicious. We'll share any updates on channel3000.com.
A judge will decide today if there's enough evidence to send a suspected drunk driver to trial. Wayne Murphy is accused of driving under the influence of prescription anti-anxiety medication when he hit a school bus on the interstate, injuring 20 students. Investigators reportedly found half-empty bottles of Xanax on the floor of his truck. Murphy faces 10 charges.
Unity Point Health Meriter is being criticized for putting people on life support at risk. A federal investigation found the hospital did not install battery-powered lights in a procedure room and failed to have a remote stop for a generator. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services say that action could have led to individuals on life support being seriously hurt or dying. A Meriter spokesperson says those problems have been fixed.
Regents is meeting today. On the agenda, changing the way universities track and share information on sexual harassment accusations on campus. The governor wants the UW system to revamp its hiring process to make sure those allegations are communicated from school to school. This after a former UW Stevens Point assistant dean of students was accused of sexual misconduct, resigned, and then was rehired for that same job at UW Eau Claire. The Board of Regents is talking about a better way to document allegations so they can be shared across the UW system.
Thank you, Leah. State leaders are looking at ways to address the staffing shortages many schools across Wisconsin face later today. The solution could involve an emergency change to the state's teacher licensing rules, which would make it easier for people who want a teaching license in Wisconsin to get one, especially those coming from out of state. The emergency rule change would also bring those licensing rules into compliance with the state budget that was passed last year.
Come this weekend, school's out for summer for thousands of Madison area students. And thanks to the REAP food group, no student will have to go hungry during their summer vacation. Every day, children 18 and under can go to one of 17 Madison area schools or a local community site like area parks, hospitals, and community centers for free meals. Most sites serve breakfast and lunch, while others serve snacks and dinner too. This summer food program is free. Age is the only restriction, and no ID is needed. To find out which schools and parks are offering which meals this summer, just go to mmsd.org/food or text food to 877-877 to find which site is closest to you. You can also just visit our website, channel3000.com, for links to all of this information.
Thank you, Christina. Wisconsin's biggest dental insurance provider is making a significant donation to an area food pantry today. Delta Dental is giving $1,000 of fresh fruits, vegetables, and dairy products to St. Vincent de Paul on Fish Hatchery Road. The company is also going to give St. Vinny's $2,000 to buy fresh food and 1,000 new toothbrushes to pass out as well.
Our forecast today does include some sunshine. We have some high-level clouds in the area this morning, but no precipitation falling from any of those clouds just yet. Mainly a dry day today with our better chances for rain late tonight. Now, high temperatures will be a little bit warmer than yesterday, topping at 79 degrees later this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Hattie. Trek Bicycle will continue making their fat tire bikes. That led to a federal lawsuit from Chris Farley's family. That suit was filed against the Wisconsin-based company for naming its fat tire bikes Farley. A spokesman for Trek says the settlement was reached yesterday and says the terms are confidential. However, the company can continue making Farley bikes. The lawsuit alleged that Trek misappropriated his name and traded on his Fat Guy brand of comedy.
Shine Medical Technologies is set to break ground on its new medical radioisotope factory in Janesville later this summer. The Janesville Gazette reports the new location will be used to make a product called Molly 99, which is used to illuminate tissues in bone and heart imaging tests, meaning it can help detect cancer and heart disease. Shine officials estimate the facility will be operating by the middle of 2020.
A Madison-based company has moved into the former Oscar Mayer plant on the city's east side. Reich Brothers Holdings bought that property last year and is now leasing office space to TASC, which stands for Total Administrative Services Corporation. That company's current headquarters is about a mile away on International Lane.
The first direct flight from Madison to San Francisco leaves 3:30 this afternoon. Now, the business community in our area has been working to get this flight going for more than a decade and get access to venture capital. Almost half of all the venture capital in this country is found in the Silicon Valley area. Dane County's Board of Supervisors is set to approve spending $100,000 tonight on marketing that nonstop service to potential passengers around the area. The airport estimates this flight, this new one, will bring $622,000 in new revenue to Dane County Regional Airport each year.
State troopers will continue to patrol the new speed limit on the interstate between Madison and Beloit. The DOT lowered that speed limit from 70 miles per hour to 55 last Saturday after a series of chain reaction crashes in the construction zone along that stretch. Troopers have now ticketed 24 drivers and handed out almost 30 warnings. All of the accidents in that construction zone shut down the interstate for hours.
6:56 right now. Let's see if anybody's able to go speeding on the interstate with a final check on traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, picking up on the westbound Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. It's going to add a few minutes to your drive, and volume will continue to grow on that side, at least for the next hour or so. Inbound John Olin, you're tapping the brakes at the Olin Avenue intersection heading toward downtown. That's going to add a few minutes. And other main routes heading into the city, including on the interstate, are moving along at the posted speeds. No major crashes or delays here in the Madison area. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pretty quiet start to the day. You can see Lake Mendota. It looks like a mirror this morning from our Edgewater sky cam. Very buggy, though, down by the lake. There's a lack of breeze this morning. Here's a look at our day planner temperatures. We will climb through the 70s to a high of 79 this afternoon. Best chances for rain really coming late today, especially overnight tonight. And then it looks like it may be kind of a wet day tomorrow with more clouds and scattered showers and thunderstorms. Highs will still be in the upper 70s.
We are just learning this morning that the teenage driver involved in a fatal Midvale Boulevard crash, the one that killed an elderly man walking his dog, faces new charges. We're going to look into that. Have the latest on channel3000.com.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.